Welcome to Make a Path Presents. My name is Ronnie Hayes, and today, let's talk Negan in the Season 6 finale of The Walking Dead. Alright guys, so Ross McCall, the actor playing Aaron, I heard his name pronounced the other day, and I was like, oh, that's so easy, you know, why do I always mess his last name up? And now I'm drawing a complete blank, but I just recorded a video before and I kept drawing blanks on these words that I just wanted to say. It's one of those days. But I think it's like Marquand. Anyway, Ross, he plays Aaron in The Walking Dead. He had an interview before the casting of Negan where he came out and said the season finale for this season of The Walking Dead, which is season 6, he was talking to Andrew Lincoln about it, and he said that there was moments in the script, I think he said like 3 moments where he actually had to put the script down. He talked about it being like a rip your gut out, dark, just still gorgeous script, and he said it's probably one of like the best or the darkest scripts that he has read so far. I'm gonna get the link to that because I am butchering his what he said, but the idea is there. It's dark as shit, and I'm gonna leave the link to that article in the description. You actually hear him talk. It's a video, so you don't have to read anything. Go ahead and watch that and let me know what you think about that in the comment box. But I'm gonna let you know what I think about it, taking that into consideration with the casting news for Negan in season 6. Not just season 6, but they confirmed Negan will be in the season finale of The Walking Dead. Now, they did not confirm he'll be in anything before the finale, so it's really up in the air. Now, taking into consideration all 3 of those, Aaron, him saying that episode 16 is dark, Negan casting, and them saying Negan is in episode 16, everybody immediately is assuming it is the big death scene from The Walking Dead, which was in issue 100. Now that's a little tricky because we were hearing Scott Gimple say he wanted to do a backstory of something that happened that Robert Kirkman put in the comic book, that most likely everyone was either assuming it was something to do with Alexandria or most likely with Negan. Now, I was assuming it was either Dwight from The Saviors, his backstory, or Ethan from the Hilltop, his backstory. Now, both of those relate to Negan. Dwight works for Negan. He's like his right-hand man. And then Ethan is a Hilltop resident who is sent out to, deal with the Saviors or drop off a package. And he is told by Negan to go stab and possibly kill, no, I believe it is kill, the leader of the Hilltop for whatever reason. Anyway, so I thought it was either one of those. So far, at 5 episodes in, unless I completely missed it, I have not seen anything that is or relates or has anything to do with what Scott Gimple was talking about backstory. Now, Negan appearing in the season finale could be, in my eyes, one of 2 things. It could actually be the backstory of Dwight, and we're not going to get Negan meeting up with our group in season 6. Part of me is really hoping that's the case. Another part of me, the comic book fan, is like, just screw it and get right to the big death, which that could be the second thing. So there is either the backstory, which would make sense if Dwight isn't burned and we see him in, episode 6. But if we do see him so early in episode 6, we could see him in episode 6 and he could leave, and when we see him later in episode, 11, 12? No, probably like 13. We'll see him in episode 13. He has the burn on his face. So that's from 6 to 13. I think there is a very good possibility that is going to happen. We'll see Dwight in either episode 6 and 7, and then we won't see him again until, let's say, episode 13 or 14. And when we see him again, he has the burn on his face. I'm kind of hoping we show him get burnt. We don't need to, but I did give an idea of how I would like them to show that. That would be absolutely epic. Epic. If we got a similar scene that I mentioned before in a prediction where we would see the camera panning through a bunch of saviors chanting the rules keep us alive, and we see a Negan-like figure. We don't see his face, so they could have filmed this without the confirmed, actor playing Negan like they did with Michonne in season 3, but we see a man in a biker gear, big man, burning another guy's face, and when he backs off, we see that it's Dwight. That would be fucking epic if we get that and the big death. So we get Dwight's backstory, a Negan-ish introduction. We don't see his face, we don't hear him talk. We get a sneak peek into the factory, the savior somewhat, and then later on in the season finale, that is when Negan appears and there is a big death. Now, a lot of people are talking about the big death either being from Daryl or Morgan. Well, there's a couple talking about Morgan. Everyone's just picking Daryl. Mainly, I feel it's because of the fangirls. Not the fangirls are picking it. I feel like it's a lot of people picking Daryl because they're sick of the Daryl fans just throwing Daryl in everyone's face. And I feel like that's a bad reason to pick a character to die. It really, really, really impact the story. I feel like Morgan, if they set him up more throughout this season, I feel like his story still could impact the story in a very emotional way. I know a lot of people are all like, oh, but we barely seen Morgan. We don't even care about Morgan. Well, you're forgetting there are a lot of fans that do. I care about Morgan. That would be really harsh if Morgan got beat to death by Negan. So, yes, there are fans that do. You might not. Like, if Daryl got beat to death by Negan, I would probably be more interested in the outcry and watching fans just, that would be a little bit humorous. I would be more interested in that than I would, emotionally impacted through the story. There are other options. It could be Glenn. It would be crazy if it was Glenn after his fake-out death. Part of me is still like, man, stay true to the comic and keep it Glenn. Glenn, still on the show, Glenn would hurt probably the most for me. If it did fake out his death and Glenn was beaten to death by Negan, I think that would still be like, oh, man, because he is such a good person. Morgan, even though he was a killer, he's such a good person now. So I think he would be my number 2. I'm trying to think who would be a good number 3. It has to be somebody who stands for the right thing. I'm trying to play it out. Like, would Maggie be good? Would Carol be good? Abraham? No. Not Michonne. Here's another thing. We know it has to be a big character. It wouldn't be a big death if they picked, somebody from Alexandria. If they said screw it and just picked Heath, that would not be a big death. Heath was there in the comic, but he wasn't killed by Negan. And in the show, if it was Heath, I think that would just be underwhelming. So it must be a big character. And I believe they know it's going to be a big character. As the writers, I believe they know this. They know it has to be a big character because it would be very underwhelming. Right now, I'm drawing blanks, man. Right now, I just can't get past it either being Morgan. Daryl just feels off to me, but it's still a possibility that could work for the story, not just because fans, not because of the fan shit. Well, we have a little bit to keep discussing this. I'm gonna stay with my Morgan prediction. I think that fits story-wise, and I know there's a lot of people that disagree. If you disagree, go ahead and sound off in the comments. If you agree, go ahead and sound off in the comments. If you have a different choice, go ahead and let us know what you think in the comment box. Please, please, no spoilers. I know they're actually filming the season finale right now, so I'm sure there's a couple fans snapping pics and whatnot. Do not tell us what happens on the set. Do not post pictures. And I'm not saying this because you guys are doing it. You guys, as far as I'm seeing so far, you guys are awesome. I'm just letting the new people know we don't do spoilers here. Spoiler-free site. You guys are doing epic. Listen, thoughts and opinions and predictions in that comment box. I'm done talking. It's your turn. Subscribe now.